Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Jared at 3Cs. We're excited. This is the first 2026 Beta 200 race edition to come in this year. Typically, with the first walk around bike, we'll pull the bike out front of the dealership and I'll walk around the whole thing, show you guys all the changes. We just did that with the 300 race edition, and a lot of those changes carried over to this bike. So the chain guide, the steering stop on the forks up on top, a lot of that stuff is the same on the 200. So there's really not a lot of stuff other than bold new graphics. So what I thought we were going to do is we're going to keep this bike. Braxton's going to race it occasionally next year. He does have a Beta 125 and a bunch of Super Minis still, so it just depends on what race we go to and what he's going to do. So I thought with this video it'd be really cool to show you a fully decked out one. This is going to be one of the biggest 200 builds I've ever done on the channel, and as a dealer that sells hundreds of Betas, I just think it's appropriate for us to do stuff that's really cool like this. So if you guys want to come in, we'll show you some of the stuff we're going to do to Braxton's bike. Right here we got, we're going to do a set of brand new plastics. I like to keep stock plastics. We'll take those off. We're going to set them in a bag, keep them until we sell the bike. So we will do our own decals. So we're going to start with some stock plastics. We got some pretty cool anodized. Now these are expensive, like 120 bucks, but they're anodized red. They're pretty cool. Nuts and bolts kit. We have them hanging on the wall, so we want to showcase what you can do to your Beta. This is their rear rotor guard. Now keep in mind, the 26 race editions, they've got a bigger axle size. So you can still buy this and use it with your previous year bike. You just got some spacers to choose from. I'm not sure what number plate will look better yet once we put the blue front fender on. We might stick with the blue number plate, but just so you guys know, home Beta does have two options for that. This is a PowerCore 2.1. This is the FMF. This is super light, so I think this is going to be a cool looking piece to add on there. It's going to be a lot lighter. This is the factory replica. So this is from Seat Concepts. It's a softer seat foam. It's got the ribs in it, and it's going to go really good with our graphic package whenever it's done on there. And the ribs are just pretty critical for mud races. Back here, we're going to change out to engine ice, and we always run 300V in the transmissions on all of our race bikes. If you guys are curious what oil we highly, highly recommend, it's this stuff right here. Stuff works so good. Down the table, we got some Domino lock-on grips. Braxton likes the stock brick grips, so his 125 is pretty decked out too. It's pretty similar to what we're doing here. So these are lock-ons. They're easy to remove, put back on. I had them at the shop, so we're going to check them out and see if we want to put them on there or not. This is a GET battery. We use these in all of our race bikes. Of course, it tells you what your charge is. It does come with another brand of battery, but we're going to keep that one on the shelf, and we're going to put this one in the bike right from the get-go. This is the stock skid plate. We are going to use this for sure. He doesn't need like a linkage guard one. He's not doing hard enduro type stuff. These are our frame guards, and before I put any of this on, we're going to pull the swing arm off of it. We're going to pull the forks off of it because you can see why, but we're going to explode this thing apart and grease it. So I didn't want to put this stuff on for the video. It didn't make sense, but you can see how much grease is poking out of that swing arm right there. It's pretty sweet. So Beta did a pretty good job already pre-greasing that bike for us. Next you're going to see is a kickstart kit. Now we like to have these on the bikes just as a backup, right? So if we're racing all the time, you're in the middle of a creek and something happens, electric start won't work. With the Beta 2-stroke, you don't need a good battery. You can literally just pull the kicker out, fire this thing up, and keep ripping. So we're going to install this. Now this is going to be its own video. If you guys want a tutorial on how to install the kickstart kit, stay tuned on the channel. That's going to be one of the first things we do to this bike here, probably later today. We're going to get the kickstart kit installed to it. This is the race harness. We love the race harnesses. That whole wire harness is going to come off of that thing, and we're going to trim it right down, just like his 125 is over here. It's going to have the start button and the kill switch only. You can see the two switches right here. They come with the kit. So we're going to do a race harness on it. We have a bunch of these in stock, and I think they're kind of nice. They're rubber dampeners. It's going to help reduce the vibration. You can see the little pad in there. It's going to reduce the vibration. Kind of a nice little piece. We had those in stock, thought we would add it. We love to do the Samco hose kit as well. We want to eliminate that thermostat in there. There's really no need for a thermostat. We always let the bikes warm up before we race, and it's just one more leak point. So we're going to eliminate that. We're going to add the hose kit. The only thing I don't love about Samco is how little of I call it a nub that they give you. It's just horrible. I wish they had like 2 more inches to it. I do wish Samco did a little bit better job with that. Some of this down here is just bling. This is actually a pretty nice piece. This will go on the rear brake right here, and it'll tighten up that rear brake pedal. I wish I could reach the bike, but it's so far away. There's a lot of play in that rear brake pedal stock, and this cleans a lot of that up. It's got tighter tolerances down there. And then this stuff is just bling. So this is your power valve adjuster. I don't know if we'll actually install it, but I thought I would show it to you guys. So instead of having like a 5mm hex head in your boot, and you're checking it and playing with it, you can just reach down and just simply turn it. It's kind of cool. They etched the B in it, but you can just grab it and adjust your power valve that way. And then these are just your reservoir caps. They got some cool anodized pieces. These were hanging at the shop. They're 80 bucks is what Beta's asking for those things. So I just did a TPS removal video on that 125, I think. Yeah, we were doing that bike. And so I won't film that separate, but that's for the TPS removal. It kind of goes hand in hand with the race harness because we don't need the TPS in there. It's gone. We're going to eliminate that. I also had a ton of this stuff in stock, so I thought I would do a cool video adding these to the next build. It's going to have some cool bling to it. Now, the race edition does come with a stock factory red lower chain guide, so not adding a lot of bling to the race edition other than the front chain guide here, so that's kind of cool. Braxton doesn't like to run wraparound handguards. He'd rather have like an open style, just it's identical to this. We're matching this bike on a lot of these accessories. So we're gonna do, and it's got the aluminum strength here, so it's not just a plastic handguard. The stock handguard that would have come on this bike, right here, this is the 2025 for reference. It's got the plastic handguard all the way through. It could let the lever pinch in toward the bar there. So this is a much stronger piece, and it'll have the Enduro Engineering front cap just like this one. So we're gonna match that. It's gonna be cool when it's done. Here's some new, less beat up ones that are gonna go on there. It's pretty sweet. On the front, we always do some sort of radiator guard. The bulletproof stuff works really good. That's what's on this one. This bike's 100% stock. I just had the 25 here just for comparisons. And so the bulletproof stuff is all front mount. We've had huge success with these. So highly recommend the bulletproof rad guards. They look cool on there too. We're gonna add an hour meter because we are removing the display. The display is gonna be gone in this bike. And keep in mind on your stock Beta, your display only registers hours whenever it's running or whenever it's moving. So if it's just idling, it's not actually catching the hours. It's got to trip that front wheel speed sensor. So keep that in mind. Your hours might not be accurate on your bike at home. Braxton loves grip donuts. So it keeps the blisters away when you're gripping the bar. So that's important to him. And then we're going to do an IMS gas tank. This one's going to be a little different. In the back or in the past, it was always just a screw cap right to the top, and there's two ways to do this. I could continue using the screw cap for now because we don't actually have a slam can at the moment, but I've already got the receiver. I've had this receiver for a while used, you can tell. This will fit right down in there. I'll bolt it in, and then when we buy the slam can, this bike will be ready for that faster fuel pit stop. So for now, for trail riding, I'm probably just gonna screw, that's what's cool when you buy this version, is you're not stuck buying the expensive cap. They're $74 for this. So there's your two options there. And probably the biggest piece to this whole thing is this KYB suspension. This is really cool stuff. This is right out of the factory Supercross team. So Beta announced they had 2 sets of A-kit suspension. I don't even know all the technical terms. It's like cashmere coated, really expensive stuff. I mean, it's probably like 20 grand new to get something like this. And so Beta had these used kits from their last year's Supercross team. We ended up with both kits. Actually, Owen James, he's gonna put a kit on his 250 RX, which we just announced that yesterday on the Instagram page. And so check this out. It's got a bunch of different clickers, a bunch of different options. And Beta revalved this and then made it work with his 200. So I talked to Bryce right in the suspension department and I told him exactly what we're doing. He built it to Braxton's weight, specs, GNCC racing. So that's gonna be really cool for him to try that. And we're gonna do some separate videos. We'll put the stock suspension back on, let him ride that, and then I'll put that on there and let him ride it and give you guys some feedback. Also, this 125 came out of the Beta GNCC program. So when they ran GNCCs 2 years ago, this was Jack Walker's bike. And so this bike was kitted right from the get-go, and it did have the Beta factory suspension in it. So this was revalved for Braxton as well. So he's always had some sort of level of really good suspension on his Beta. So we've got like stock stuff, which is good. This is like really good, and then this is like amazing. So it's pretty cool. We've got some different stuff we can try, but selling as many Betas as we do, we got to know this kind of stuff. And then the last piece is going to be these wheels. Now, I don't know if we'll actually use these, but man, they look so good. They've got Excel wheels with W hubs. They are such a cool piece. They look good. We'll definitely put them on there to take some pictures before we're done with it. The last big difference that I noticed when comparing the 25 next to Braxton's 26 was that the rear sprocket on this was a 50 tooth versus a 49. Because there is a gearbox difference. They did do some stronger gearbox stuff apparently. I've never had anybody break one, so I'm not worried about these, but this must be a little stronger and it must be a little different gearing because they changed that rear sprocket. So other than that, we're gonna jump into this thing, we're gonna build it, and then we're gonna come back and show you the finished product. So we're halfway through Braxton's build. I'm gonna say halfway, we're not even like a fifth of the way through. We basically just exploded this bike apart last couple days, and we're making changes already. So we got some really cool stuff to show you guys. So let me grab this box. Check out all this extra stuff we're gonna add to this build. So you ask, like, why are we gonna do this seat? Mainly because we're gonna do the aluminum subframe upgrade. This is so cool. This is gonna replace the plastic subframe in the back. So it's basically going to be like an RX 2-stroke rear end on this bike. And in order for this subframe to work, we have to have the taller seat, I don't know what you want to call it, nub there on the bottom, that clicks into the base in the back. So just know if you have an aluminum subframe, you have to buy the new either seat base or new seat to go along with it. So along with the subframe update kit, it's going to have the RX plastics in the back, which are really cool. We're going to go ahead and do the Beta rear rotor guard. We've been using this since like 2010. It's been bulletproof for us. We're not going to do the one that has the cage on top. It is still sitting on the counter over there, but we're going to switch to this one. We're also going to do the super trick rear brake pedal from Beta. This is a Beta part. We should showcase this out of the packaging because this thing is sick. This packaging is tough. If you guys buy one of these, you're getting a good bag. So check this thing out. It's got this cool anti-brake rear tip on it that's super aggressive. Like, that's definitely going to grab your boot. If I can thread it into its hole, that's going to look sick on there, dude. It's such a sick piece. So we just showed you that new box of parts that we're going to add to this build, which is cool. We'll give you a little rundown. Braxton's putting the new chain slides on right now, give it that cool red look. And we just shot its own video talking about how much grease Beta actually puts in these. And it's super impressive. So, because I get so many phone calls, people calling and asking how much grease is actually in the linkage. I was blown away with how much grease is actually up here. So you guys need to check that video out. Don't worry about taking that apart. It is totally fine. You'll see how much grease look at, that's all just taking it apart. Look how well greased all of that is in there. So super impressive on Beta. And so we're gonna rip this whole rear subframe off. I had just laid this race harness in here and I was so happy with it. Like, all the wiring, the routing, I dielectric grease everything to the max. My fingers are gonna be so greasy. You can see all the grease everywhere. Dielectric grease the front, the back. So that was really cool. And we took the carb apart, we checked the float, that was perfect. We checked all the routing here on the cables. So anyway, we're gonna take the rear subframe off next. We'll get that to an aluminum subframe. We'll start getting this rear swing arm back on. And then we can start putting the shocks and everything on. So guys, here we are. Braxton's project bike is 99% done. It doesn't have the kickstart kit in it yet. I ordered the wrong one. My fault on that. Other than that, this bike is ready to rock and roll. I might switch this silencer out to a Shorty. I do have one. And I think we might like the Shorty silencer a little bit better because when you're coming up on people, we can give them one of these and get them out of the way. You excited about this build?
Yeah.
So we might leave for Florida tomorrow. There's an FTR next weekend. It's a hare scramble. And it just depends on the snow. There's so much snow coming at us, and I won't drive the van in the salt at all. Like, I'm super picky about it. And so I don't know if we're going to leave tomorrow or not. So what I did is I prepped the stock rim with an MX-14. It's more of a sand tire, and he's going to run the stock Maxxis. These wheels will not currently work because I just got it sitting in here. This is an older style rear axle because the new rear axles are so much bigger. These wheels don't have the bigger spacer, so I got to work on spacers. So these wheels are coming off for the weekend. We are going to take this in his 125. I was planning on you running the mini race in Florida, but it's just weird. Like, the mini A race is only up to an 85, and you can't run mini A and then junior C. I don't know. I emailed the guy back and forth, so we might just skip right to the adult race. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, we'll see, whatever.
And the mini race was going to be like back to back. It was going to be like you race and you have like 25 minutes off the bike. And mid-December, January, you're not really in shape probably to race 2 in a row. Because we haven't raced since the last fall series. So, and that's okay. It's just where we live. So really pumped on this build. It turned out really good. There's really nothing else that I would do to this other than maybe adding a cooling fan kit It just depends on the mud races we get into. And we might not even race this in the first couple mud races because in Iowa, the first 4 are pretty muddy usually.
Yeah, usually.
Because we're still in April and May, so we might run as 125. We still have that bike. We're going to keep it. So, and in Florida, I think we'll ride both these back to back, and you can tell me what you think. So we're going to do a second comparison video. That'd be pretty cool. So at the end here, I'm just going to walk around it, give you guys some footage, everything we did. And I'm going to do in the description below, I'm going to give you guys a parts list of what's on this thing. That way, if you want to build one of these, we can do that. Oh, aluminum subframe, thanks to Beta. I want to tell Beta, thanks for helping out.
Thanks, Beta.
So pumped. Thanks for helping us become the second largest Beta dealer in the country as well. That's pretty cool. The news broke about a week ago on that. So if you guys are on the Beta website and you're placing your Beta parts orders, if you don't mind choosing 3C's Recreation Years Dealer, we would certainly appreciate it. We do get a small commission on those orders at the end of the month, so helps us do this kind of stuff. But that's going to wrap it up. And then the next video is possibly going to be him riding this thing in like 4 days down south. So we'll see you there. We'll start right on the front on this thing. This is the Han wheels or W hubs with Excel rims. And again, we're going to put the stock ones back on it for the race this coming weekend. This is that KYB factory suspension. You're able to use the stock brake system. It mounts right to these forks. But it's pretty cool right here. Beta factory suspension. It's pretty sweet. Thanks to Bryce for modifying it to fit a 200 and to be set up for Braxton's weight. So thank you for that. These number plates come with a different style. They come, like you can see, like the holes that would like hold this way in tighter. But I like to use the stock one, lets the brake line come out more. I don't need it sandwiched quite so far over. Let's let it like kind of naturally bend out like it needs to or that it wants to. So I like leaving this setup. I know it doesn't look quite as clean, but I'm okay with that. Right away you'll notice, obviously we went right to the race harness on it. So we have just the kill switch and the start button left on the handlebars. We did the Enduro Engineering handguards with the stronger, this is an aluminum bracket that goes right to your brake and clutch mounts, to your perches. So it's a really clean, it's a stronger setup. Braxton doesn't like bark busters, he'd rather keep it open, but it's a very strong setup. Now his 125 also has arc levers that let the levers flip the other way. We may end up having to do that, I'm not sure. I do not have this zip tied on yet because he needs to sit on this thing and we're gonna set up his lever controls, height and the position of the bars. Here's the picture of that start switch there. We did add underneath here, this has got the rubber mount, bar mounts from X-Trig right there. It's pretty cool. We added the IMS gas tank, and now we went with a version that has the slam can capability. I can put the other dry brake receiver in here, but for now I just did the standard screw cap. And the new version allows you to run the shrouds. This is kind of cool. Instead of it being like bulged out, run the shrouds on this. I drilled this, tapped it, and then I got like the little check valve in here going right to the frame on that side. I will spin the bike here in a minute. We'll look at the other side. Coming down here, I did take the carb out. We checked the float height. I was happy with that. We got the block off plate there. You can see the aluminum subframe kind of poking through the plastic. We left the stock shifter, stock foot pegs. Now he likes the standard RR foot pegs, but since they redesigned these, he hasn't ridden with these yet. So we're gonna find out down south if he likes them. If not, we'll put stock RR foot pegs back on. We did go with a 14-tooth front sprocket because they come with the 14 or a 15. And the stock rear sprocket was a 50 this year. So they did go from a 49 to a 50 in the rear. We will learn about that, but this is a 110, 118. This is the MX14. It's a really good tire for down south. And if he doesn't like it, I've got his 125. We can swap rims. We did the TM Designs upper chain guide, and I think that's just more because I had it. It's not something that I think you need to do, but man, it certainly looks really cool on there. Because this was already already red, I didn't put the TM lower on it. I'm gonna run the stock one for now. I think it's totally fine. And don't pay attention to this chain slack because it's the wrong, I just think it looks beautiful. So I threw them on there for now, but it's the wrong rear axle currently. This is the FMF 2.1, and I have an FMF Shorty that we're gonna grab at the shop. It's gonna cut at least 5 inches out of that. And with the aluminum subframe kit, you can see it turns it into just a solid rear fender only. It's a really cool setup. Here's a better look at that aluminum subframe. I talked about a wire, we did a separate wire harness video. I talked about me flipping this ECU around so it's facing the other way. The diodes are along The other aluminum subframe bar, zip tied nicely up through there. Look how much extra room I have now coming into the air box. We did grease the air filter on there, and all this wiring is so nicely laid out. I've got special zip ties laid everywhere, keeping everything away from any kind of sharp object. It's centered right in the middle. We got his hour meter. I love the way that that laid in there. Super clean. These IMS tanks fit so well. Look at all the extra room for the wires. Nothing's getting pinched anywhere. Nice and clean all the way down through. Plenty of room. So like I can be confident with this long term. Here's the right hand side of the bike. Kind of have a look at the front again. We left the axle pull in there. Everything fit in nicely. It's all just the way it should be. It's got the axle pull. Handguard on this side. Braxton loves his grip donuts. Keeps the blisters from coming on his thumbs. Big fan of those. We have our steering stem block off right there. It's really cool. It keeps the moisture from going in your keyhole there. Here's a look at the Samco hose kit. You will notice that I used the upper two hoses and we welded that. I had a friend that does all of our fab work. He took care of that for me. And then I used the stock hose on the bottom. I wasn't a big fan of how much the Samco hose really kinked at the bottom. Like down here, it had more of a 90 degree. And I'd rather keep the coolant, here's a better look maybe. Like I see how transition-y that one is. The other one was more of a 90. So I left the stock hose on the bottom. I'll have the Samco one in the bag if we need it. Here's your power valve adjuster. Beta sent us one of these for the video and it's really cool, easy to use. We usually run his all the way out because we want the power to hit earlier but more even. Here's the Beta rear brake pedal. This thing is sweet. Check this thing out. It's almost like a breakaway. So if you hit something, it won't shatter quite as easy, I hope. And it's really aggressive. And he likes his foot pegs aggressive, so I'm hoping that he really enjoys that. We are going to take the stock rear brake pedal with us just in case he doesn't like that quite as much. And I like how clean that rear brake clevis. Look at that. It takes all of that play out of there. So that's really tidied up. And then as you guys know, in these 26s, they've got the new brake hose, kind of brings it back. We did a Beta rear rotor guard on there. Those are so critical up here in the north, like with all the rocks. I guess anywhere in the country there's a ton of rocks. So, you get down with a ride and you see like 5 new nicks, and you're like, oh man, if I didn't have that on there, that would have been right on my rotor. Here's that Beta factory suspension with the quick adjust. So there's no beating like this is the X-Trade version. You can just grab that and turn it with a dial. We can set a sag on here. This is the radiator guards that we put on. Really like the bulletproof guards. They mount easy. They give so much protection. They do more side protection than you think because they stick out further than the radiator. So if you do land on the side, it's still going to take a lot of the brunt right there. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for following along. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Enjoy the ride. See you on the trail.